What's going on, sports card hobby family? It's another week. It's another sports card video. Today we're going to be talking about flippers, card flippers, flipping sports cards. Why are people so mad about flippers? We'll kind of dive into a couple of different talking points here today. If you're new here, you're looking for just about daily sports card collectibles style videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. We will be here for you, my friends. We will be here for you. Also, big thanks to today's video sponsor, Whatnot. Maybe you want to go to the card show. Maybe you want to go to that local LCS, but you don't feel like getting off the couch because it's freezing cold outside. You've got the Whatnot app right there on your phone. Easily buy singles of trading cards, comic books, action figures, all sorts of different collectibles, sneakers, all sorts of different things on the Whatnot app. So definitely check it out today. All right, you'll hear some hot takes out there. Card flippers are bad for the hobby, this, that, and the other thing. Oh man, they don't care about cards. They don't love these cards. They're just here to make money and get out and this sort of thing. And some of those are fair takes, I think, but I think there's some other sides to that story that I think that we should think about as well. A lot of times I hear the argument of card flippers make cards more expensive for me. I guess that's possible in certain cases, but we're in kind of a different type of environment now. It's more of a buyer's market now for cards, to where I don't think the flippers are really dealing with high margins to where they're buying a card that you wanted and then they're able to turn around and sell that for a high margin. If anything, they're turning around and maybe it's 10, 20% more, maybe it's 30% more, which yes, that is a premium for sure. But what's the alternative to that? The alternative is another long-term holder or a collector finds that. Long-term holder, collector, will use that interchangeably. They buy it and then you don't have availability to it because they're holding it. Especially for more rare stuff, on the modern side, if it's gold prisms out of 10, or if it's a 1 of 1, or even if it's out of 25 or out of 50, it depends on what the card is, of course. But if it's something that doesn't pop up all the time and you've been looking for it, maybe it's 6 months ago when you last saw a copy of it. If another person that's like you, that's going to hold it for an extended period of time, buys it, then it's gone. It's going to be in that collection and you're not going to be able to see it. So that's another one that's off the map. It's off the table. And so you got to hope that if it's a numbered card to 10, if it's a high grade vintage card that you don't really see very much, or just a rare vintage card doesn't pop up, you got to hope another one pops up. But what if it doesn't? That's where it might be advantageous for a flipper to have it to where, okay, I know that this particular person has got it. I know they're not in love with it. I know that they want to move it. And so it's just a matter of building the relationship with that flipper/dealer. Also, that's another thing, flipper/dealer. Aren't we all kind of mini dealers, mini flippers? The vast majority of the people I know that operate in the hobby, they are using existing inventory, selling it to buy into new things, or at least that's part of the strategy.
So every time I have a mail day, in order to tell if the slab is real, I lick the slab.
Yes, you're going to use some new money, but you're also maybe sell off a thing or two, depending on if it's a bigger card. Maybe you're selling off a couple smaller cards, you're adding cash to it, and then you're buying that card. But the main thing is your inventory, your collection is a funding source typically for new stuff. That's what I've seen. Now, I did get a comment here going back, I think it was last week or the week before, and said something to the effect of, hey, whether you sell that card tomorrow or in 30 years, you're a flipper. And look, I think that that's kind of going beyond collecting. I think this sort of extreme might be more of kind of the hoarding mentality. When I see a comment like that, it makes me think of the show Hoarders, where they walk into the house and there's stuff from the floor all the way to the ceiling. They end up digging around. They're trying to get rid of stuff. They find like a dead cat in the corner that's been there for 7 years because there's just been trash and all that stuff. Like, look, if selling it tomorrow or selling it in 30 years makes you a flipper, then 99.999% of the hobby are flippers. I've been saying this too for a long time. People don't want to hear it, but here's the truth. If you might be a longtime collector, but guess who's not? Your wife, your family, because one day you won't be here. We're all going to be gone. None of us are going to get out of this thing alive, unless you're a vampire or something. Hell, maybe there's vampires out there, but for me, I haven't gotten bit by Dracula yet, and so I've got a finite amount of time. So the whole idea that I'm never going to sell, well, my family will at some point, and so I need to be thinking about that. And I guess they'll be the flipper. The whole idea of buying, selling, trading, that's the whole point of trading cards. I don't think that it should be demonized one way or the other. If you choose to do your hobby one way, great. If you choose to do it another way, great. Honestly, if everyone's operating above board and not doing anything illegal, then it's kind of nobody's business what you decide to do. This is kind of the one thing for a lot of us. I've got a family, I've got 4 kids. This is the one thing, one of the one things in my life that I can control. What's in my collection, what I'm changing, what all this and that. I can't change. There's a lot of things family-wise that, are out of my control. And I think a lot of us flock to cards and collectibles for this partly for this reason, and that, hey, look, this is something that we can have fun with. We get to dictate terms all the time, like it's our collection, it's our deal. Nobody else has a say in it. Another benefit of flippers/dealers, which flippers, dealers, what's the difference? Let's be honest, really break it down. What's the difference between a flipper and a dealer? But anyway, I digress. Is that they, thank you to social media, they're bringing a lot of cards to the surface. Look, if you're somebody that's collecting rare Michael Jordan cards, in the past it would be very difficult. Maybe you're online on forums and that sort of thing, trying to find these cards, trying to figure out kind of how to build a relationship with somebody that's just on a random forum with a random username. Now with IG and Twitter and YouTube, etc., it is a lot easier to connect people. I have people that reach out to me all the time, really daily almost, with Breeze cards or Stranger Things cards or certain Tom Brady stuff, because they know that that's what I'm collecting. And that's a real benefit of social media. Flippers/dealers are able to get this stuff out there to where somebody can, okay, I've got this Breeze card, and people will tag me on it, and then sometimes I buy it. Otherwise, I would never even know that it's out there. So the ecosystem as a whole is important. All of these people are important. However you characterize yourself, I think that I'm really a hybrid. I've said it forever. I'm a collector/speculator/investor, dirty investor word, but I do care about the value of the cards. I'm not going to pretend like I'm spending meaningful money on stuff and I just don't care about it, because I'm just a collector and I don't care about the value of cards. It's silly. I think that the majority of people that say that are just not truthful with themselves and or with people that they interact with. Why do you think a lot of the 90s inserts cards are so expensive? Why do you think that is? The big reason why is because, especially, let's talk about the Michael Jordan market. I know this for a fact because I have 2 or 3 people that have reached out to me kind of saying the same sorts of things on social media and letting me know, hey, look, there's probably, I don't know, I'm going to say a dozen. There might be less, there might be more. There are about a dozen people that are buying up rare Michael Jordan insert cards. They're putting them away, and they're holding all the supply of them. Their whole goal, I think, is kind of to hold the supply. I had a guy reach out to me, said he's got 7 figures of Michael Jordan cards. And it wasn't Nat Turner, but you know that he's one of those people. And so if you have kind of that deep, long-term hold group, you don't need a lot of them. It might be a dozen people that are holding very important cards that just don't come to market very often. And when they do, they're fighting each other to scoop them up, and then they put them away. They're not scooping it up and then putting it back on golden auctions or putting it out to PWCC or Hakes or wherever. They are putting it away in a vault. And so they just don't pop up that much, low supply. If it sells every couple of years, that means the pricing is going to be higher, obviously, because you're going to have those big ballers, those big card ballers are going to come in and they're going to compete for it. They're going to try to win it. And again, it's just long-term holders. They're not flippers. So would you rather have flippers have it? Because ideally, if you're that person, you want to have somebody that's buying that card. If you lose, you're like, oh, thank God. It's not someone that's going to put it in a vault for 10, 20 years. They're going to try to resell it. So anyway, a little twist. Want to throw a little twist in there on card flippers, because I know a lot of people put them down as like the evil card flippers. I would say that they are just part of the ecosystem that we all need to make this thing run. All right, guys, stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.